morning. Hi. How
Hello.
are you guys? I
Hi.
haven't seen you for such a long time. I hope you're keeping well.
We are.
Yes, I
That's
am
We are.
too.
good. That's good. Okay, to every one of you who have been following our series and listening to us, welcome to Everyday Conversation with Everyday People. Today I have two very special people joining me, and it is indeed a very special conversation because all our conversation has been one-on-one. So thank you very much, Chi Hui and Rachel. They both have had the horrendous experience of working with me once before in their life, but you know what? I mean, they are lovely women, and I always love to have a chat with them, and I'm so happy that they agree to have a chat with me today on my virtual sofa. So, ladies, thank you very much for hopping on because yours is the conversation that comes into my final conversation series. And the big topic that we are discussing is overcome. Okay, I know it's a bit daunting, right? Hey, steady on. I know you know what you will have to share. So, can I kick it off with the first question? And maybe I direct it to Chi Hui first. So, Chi Hui, I'd like to hear your personal take on, the word overcoming. If I tell you overcoming, what does it mean to you?
I think thinking about the word overcome, like you mentioned, it sounds daunting, right? And I think during this period, what I reflected upon is that instead of looking or focusing on the word overcoming, which seems huge, I think it's for me repositioning to think about it in terms of embracing rather than overcoming, because when you just imagine a very huge mountain in front of you that you have to overcome, it just tends to make you freeze and feel like it's too impossible. But I think when I think of it as embracing and just going with the flow, I think that becomes a lot more manageable. So I think to me during this period, I've just been trying to think of it more as embracing new ways of doing things, not so much having to overcome per se.
That is nice to hear. And Rachel, do you share the same view, or you have your own thoughts about overcoming in the new normal?
So I think that I think it's very much aligned to what Chi Hui mentioned. So I think embracing is one of them. But I think one thing that I also learned was also to accept. Basically, is to be more accepting of like the position that we're in. So overcome, I think the understanding I had of overcome maybe before COVID is very different from the understanding I have of overcome now. So it actually changes like the understanding. And for now, I think it's a lot of acceptance. It's more of accepting the situation for what it is, and also like what Chi Hui said was to embrace what the changes, what changes may come our way, to accept basically what happens, and to like what Bob said, to go with the flow, right? So I think that's very important. I think acceptance is very important because so many times you try to overcome it with your own strength and everything, but sometimes you just need to accept that this is what it is now and go with it. So I think that's actually something that I learned definitely in the past couple of months, with this situation here. Yeah.
Ah, that's good. You know what? But I just really want to clarify this, like acceptance is not resignation to
No,
what,
of course not. Of course
is
not.
happening, right? Yeah, because a
Of
lot of
course.
people, when they talk about, I would rather embrace and I would rather accept, it sounded like so defeating. But I need people out there to know it's not about that. In fact, it
No.
takes a lot more to accept
Yes.
than to react and to do
Yes.
something about it. Don't you guys agree?
No, I agree.
Yeah,
It is,
I
right?
think
It's not
yeah.
meant to be resigned to fate, of course, but I think accepting also puts you in a better state of mind also to see that, to go with the situation basically. So to me that is
That's true.
important. Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
that's
I
true.
think, and I think I was also reminded of actually, Germaine, something that you shared with me when I used to work for you. You mentioned that, take this whole, life and this work as a playground, And every day is a new day to explore, right? And sometimes you fall down, and sometimes the slide seems daunting, or you're sitting on the swing for the first time. It can seem scary, but actually, it takes you on a ride as well. So I think in this whole grand scheme of things, well, there are challenges, but I think if we look at it instead of having to overcome a challenge itself, but really just going the flow and experiencing every day as being on a playground, I think that's a bit more helpful, and I think it makes me feel lighter when I approach the day.
Yeah, I know. Actually, when I was talking to quite a lot of my other conversationalists, I realized that a lot of them are slightly more mature than the two of you. And, the way they say it, the way they approach it is somewhat different. Because for them, I think I could sense a slight bitterness even in what they have to say, even whilst they embrace, the situation. Whereas I feel that both of you, being obviously younger of age, I think you have a very fresh take to the current situation, which is the new normal. By the way, it is not easy. Everything has changed. Everything you know to be normal, it's no longer what it is, right? So let's start a little bit from work-wise. Have you all sensed any change in work-wise lately that you felt that this is just it's horrendous, and it's very, very challenging? Have you all even gone through that recently?
Yeah, so I can take that first, Chi Hui. So I think, yes, I think challenging is it's a different type of challenge. I think working from home, and
Yeah.
as I've actually never enjoyed working from home, because I feel that we shouldn't have yes, so we shouldn't have to like work and rest in the same space. However, it's just not feasible to have like a separate space in the house, right? So I think that's something that I've come. So again, I think that's where accepting comes to the picture, right? The sooner you accept that this is the new normal and you don't feel alone, I think the sooner you can have a different perception and a better mentality to be able to approach the situations. And every day you wake up, of course, also my team has been very understanding, and at work, everyone knows that everyone's like in uncharted waters. Basically, nobody has really worked from home for a lot, but there are also other people who have constantly done this. So I've had conversations with my colleagues in the US, and she was telling me that, like, I understand the hay fever you guys are going through right now, staying at home. But she said that she actually is like maybe 2 years ago, and it took her about a couple of months to get over it, and she said that we will definitely get there. So she said, don't worry, everyone will get there. It just takes a little bit of time, but initially it's not going to be easy. You would feel uneasy and everything, but you will definitely get there. So I think that really helped me at that point, because for me to hear it from somebody who has experienced it, and she works from home now like every single day, and she works like almost 11 hours. So I think so she does that all the time. So I draw like some inspiration from her as well. So it's not ideal, but I think it's really the new normal that it's coming up.
Yeah, I know, right? Rachel, you are so right in that. I remember in one of my conversations, I spoke to a clinical psychologist, and she said, do not underestimate the effect of working from home, because home has always been a very cherished place of rest.
Yeah.
And now you have no choice but to mix work in it, and some of us who do not know how to differentiate, we will find it very challenging. But you're right. And I'm so happy that you said that the faster you accept, the faster you can move on, and stop giving yourself that undue stress. And what about Chi Hui? I think that this is your office, right, Chi Hui?
Yeah, so I've been coming back to office of late, but during circuit breaker, of course, it was full-time working from home.
Yeah.
I think for me, the initial challenge was to kind of reconcile what it meant to be productive. And when you first start working from home, there's a lot to overcome in terms of like having the right setup, overcoming maybe technical glitches. So things that you could do much faster and easily in office, it takes you way longer to do at home. And that can be quite stressful because you're still having the same deadlines, the same expectations from your bosses. So I think it's really, redefining what productivity really means. And I think also the question that came to my mind is how much of my self-worth do I also peg to work?
Wow, I never
Right.
thought of
So
that. Yeah.
so I think, the whole circuit breaker has really allowed me to reflect on this. And I think a lot of us who peg a lot of self-worth to work may find it a bit suffocating, to try and produce results all the time. And the truth is that people cannot be 100% all the time. We try to be, but it's not feasible in the long run. So I think it's also accepting as well that, there are times where you just have to be kind to yourself and take it easy, and communicate more. I think as I managed to communicate more to my bosses in terms of, how I'm facing some challenges. They were also more understanding, and I think that open communication has helped to ease some of the expectations that I thought, they had of me as well. And that has helped me to transition a little bit better during, work from home situations.
I am so glad to hear that, because all you see out on social media is doom and gloom. I think seriously, no. I think that there are always pockets of hope. And speaking to the two of you, really hope arises. I'm so happy to hear that, bosses are understanding, and both of you, for the young age that you are, you have so much wisdom in what you have to say, of this situation, because honestly, this situation is not easy. And you know what, guys, when we have good conversation, right, the time really flies. So I just want to sneak in the last thing is for you to maybe tell those people who are listening in, don't give up, essentially. So what is your take going forward? Because honestly, ladies, we are never ever going to go back to what we had before. The path is only forward, and forward is very dark. I still cannot see light at the end of the tunnel. But then how do we do this? So what would you say to that?
So I think that I think my keyword for myself is really accepting. I think like what Chi Hui said, that you really need to be kind to yourself, because we need to accept that we also have limitations as people. It took me a while, definitely, to reach this stage, but I think once you're there, you actually feel you feel that sense of calmness, serenity, peace, and all of that actually helps you to actually become even better as a person. So really embrace changes, take the time to spend with your family, and use the opportunity when the offices are closed to actually do things that you have never been able to before. So yeah, that's definitely my take on this.
Good for you, Rachel. And Chi?
So I think for me, what I would say in terms of don't give up is really just put one foot in front of the other, one at a time, and take each day one at a time. I think if you try to look too far ahead, or try and look up at the tall mountain, it's always going to make you feel like you can't move. But taking one step at a time is manageable, and that's all really that you need to do. And if you take one step at a time, before you know it, you have walked a lot further than you could ever imagine. So I think that's my take on not giving up.
Wow. I think that just sounds so cool, and I wish a lot more people can listen to this conversation, and really, when they are just at the point of like, you know what, I'm just throwing in the towel, don't do that, because it will have to end at some point. And then the new normal would start. And when it starts, it can be a very beautiful tomorrow, whilst it holds a lot of uncertainty. But hey, if we choose to see it as an adventure, it is an adventure, So on that note, thank you so much, ladies, for joining me. And I really miss you all lots. I wish that we have actual face-to-face. We always go and eat, drink together. I wish those times can come back soon. Yeah. So to everyone who's listening in, if you want to connect with any one of us, we welcome you to write into www.elpishideout.com, and we'll see what we can do for you. So on that note, Chi Hui, Rachel, thank you very much, and please stay safe. All right, and till we meet again next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye today.
Bye.
Bye.